Welcome back, everyone. Today we're diving deep into, um, well, the balance between our physical and spiritual sides.
Ooh, interesting.
Yeah, and we're going to be looking at this talk by M. Russell Ballard from way back in 2019
Okay.
called Giving Our Spirits Control Over Our Bodies.
Yeah.
And, one of the things that really drew me to this talk was the speaker's personal story
Oh, yeah.
about his wife, Barbara,
Mm.
who had recently passed away. And it's so touching.
Yeah, I can imagine.
It really makes you think about love and loss and what really matters in life.
Yeah, those are the big questions, aren't they?
They really are. And the
Oh,
way he talks about Barbara, you can just tell how much he admired her.
okay.
He describes her as having this quiet strength and always being there for their family, you know?
It's always the quiet ones.
Right. And you can just feel the depth of his love and respect for her.
Mm. That's beautiful.
It is. And one of the things that struck me was when he talked about all the everyday things that she did,
Oh, yeah.
Raising their family, managing the household, all those things that we often take for granted.
Absolutely, until they're gone, right?
Exactly. And he even shares this really touching detail about how in her final months,
Mm.
when she was struggling with Alzheimer's,
Oh, wow.
he would sit with her and watch her favorite musicals
Oh,
over and over again.
that's so sweet.
It just shows, the depth of their connection.
It really does. It makes you think about how often do we really stop and appreciate the people we love
Yeah.
and all that they do for us? Are we expressing that gratitude enough?
It's a good reminder for all of us, for
Mhm.
sure. And so from this reflection on his wife's life,
Mm.
he introduces this idea of reunion,
Okay,
which is a really central concept in his faith.
got it.
He finds comfort in the belief that he'll be reunited with his wife and family after this life.
Yeah, I think a lot of people find comfort in that idea of reunion,
Yeah.
regardless of their specific beliefs.
Yeah, it's a very human thing
It is.
to want to be connected to the people we love,
Mm-hmm.
even after death.
For sure.
And so, it makes you think about your own beliefs
Mm-hmm.
about life and death
Yeah.
and what might come after. And then from this foundation of love and loss, the speaker really dives into the main theme of his talk,
Okay.
which is this struggle between our physical and spiritual selves.
Oh, interesting. The duality.
Yeah. And he even quotes his grandfather,
Oh, wow.
who gave a talk called Struggle for the Soul, about battling those lusts, appetites, and ambitions of the flesh.
Wow. So this idea that there's this tension between
Yeah,
the physical and the spiritual,
it's a constant battle.
yeah, it's something that's been around for centuries, right?
It pops up in philosophies and religions throughout history.
It's a universal struggle.
For sure. And he doesn't shy away from making it personal either.
Oh, really?
He directly asks his audience,
Yeah.
how's this battle going with each one of you?
Ooh, that's getting right to it.
He's not messing around.
No, he's not.
And I think it's because he recognizes that this is something we all face,
Yeah. We all struggle with it.
right? Like we all have those temptations to prioritize the immediate gratification
Yeah.
over the long-term goals.
Yeah, absolutely. Especially those spiritual goals, right? It's so easy to get caught up in the here and now.
Well, absolutely. I know I've lost that battle a few times.
We all have.
Who hasn't given in to those carnal impulses every now and then?
Our brains are practically wired for it, right?
Yeah. So tell me from a psychological standpoint, why is it so hard to resist those urges?
Well, our brains are really wired for that instant gratification. We're constantly seeking pleasure and avoiding pain.
Right.
So choosing discipline and delayed reward, it can be a real challenge,
That makes sense.
even if we know it's the better path in the long run.
Right. So it's this constant tug of war
Yeah.
between what our body wants and what our spirit needs.
Yeah, and sometimes our bodies are very demanding.
They really are. But then the speaker reminds us that we're not just physical beings, right?
Yeah.
He emphasizes our inherent spiritual nature,
Oh.
drawing on this concept of a premortal existence
Mhm.
where we actually chose righteousness and we demonstrated our spiritual capacity.
Interesting. So it's like we have this deeper self
Yes.
that we can tap into.
Yes. And when we give in to those base impulses,
Yeah.
it's almost like we're betraying that true self.
Right. It's like we're not living up to our full potential.
Exactly. And even if you don't, subscribe to that specific belief system,
Mm-hmm.
this idea of striving for authenticity,
Yeah.
for aligning your actions with your values, that's pretty universal.
Absolutely. It's about being true to yourself,
Right.
to who you really are at your core.
Yeah. And that leads us to the big question, how do we actually win this battle?
Yeah.
If we're constantly being pulled in these two directions, what can we do to give our spirits more control?
That's the million-dollar question, isn't it?
It really is. Well, he doesn't sugarcoat it,
No.
He says it's a constant effort,
Yeah.
but he does offer some really practical strategies. And one that really stood out to me was this idea of repentance.
Repentance.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, he doesn't mean it in like
Yeah.
a purely religious sense.
Yeah.
He's talking about this ongoing process of self-reflection,
Mhm.
recognizing where we've fallen short and then making a conscious choice to do better.
Oh, I like that. Yeah, like course correction.
Yeah, exactly.
Makes
It's about
sense.
taking ownership of our actions.
Right.
And making a commitment to improve. And I actually struggle with that word repentance.
Really? Why?
It just feels so heavy,
Oh, break that.
But the way he describes it, it's more about
Yeah.
course correcting. Like we all make mistakes.
We do.
We all stray from our values sometimes.
It's human nature.
But it's what we do afterward that really matters.
I love that. Yeah, it's about acknowledging those missteps,
Right.
learning from them, and then making a conscious effort to realign with our values.
Exactly. And he even mentions his own practice of daily reflection.
Oh, taking time to think about his actions and to seek forgiveness for any wrongs he might have committed.
Like a daily reset.
Yeah, almost like a reset button.
Yeah. And, even if you're not religious, that idea of self-reflection
Right.
is so powerful, just taking a few moments each day
Mm-hmm.
to check in with yourself,
Mm-hmm.
to, assess your choices
Yeah.
and identify areas for growth. It
Absolutely.
can make a huge difference in how you approach life.
He also talks about the importance of the sacrament,
Okay.
which in his faith is this ritual where they take bread and water
Right.
to symbolize spiritual renewal.
I see.
And while that specific ritual, may not resonate with everyone,
Yeah.
the underlying concept I think is really valuable.
Yeah. What's that?
It's about creating those moments of pause, those opportunities to reconnect with your spiritual side
Right. To kind of step back
and recommit to your values.
and recharge.
Yeah.
I love that.
So taking time for reflection, course correction when needed.
Mm-hmm.
What else does he suggest? Well, he talks a lot about the power of gratitude,
Oh, yeah.
which might sound simple,
Right.
but it can be incredibly transformative.
It really can.
When we focus on what we're grateful for, it shifts our perspective from, lack to abundance,
Totally.
from negativity to positivity.
Yeah. There's that saying, it's not happy people who are grateful. It's grateful people who are happy.
Oh, I love that.
And it's so true.
It is.
When you start paying attention to the good things in your life, even the small things,
Right.
it can really change your whole outlook.
Absolutely. And gratitude has been shown to have all sorts of benefits,
Oh, yeah.
It reduces stress, improves sleep, strengthens relationships.
Wow.
It's like a secret weapon
It really is.
for a happier, healthier life.
It's like taking those mental blinders off
Yeah,
and noticing all the good stuff that you might have been missing.
absolutely.
And I think it ties back to that earlier point about appreciating the contributions of others.
Mm-hmm.
When you're in a grateful mindset, you just become more aware of all those little acts of kindness that people do for you.
It's true. You're more present.
You are.
And it's about shifting from a sense of entitlement to a sense of appreciation.
Right.
And that shift can have a ripple effect, not just on your own well-being, but on the people around you as well.
Absolutely. And along with gratitude, he also talks about prioritizing connection.
Oh, connection.
Yeah, and I think this is huge
It is.
in our hyper-connected, always-on world,
Right. We're always plugged in.
It's so easy to get caught up in the busyness of life
Mm-hmm.
and forget to nurture those relationships that really matter.
The things that actually matter. Yeah.
And he's talking about being present,
Yes.
both physically and emotionally.
Putting down the phone, silencing the mental chatter,
Right.
truly engaging with the people you care about.
And it's not just about, human connection.
Mm-hmm.
He also emphasizes the importance of connecting with our spiritual selves.
Oh, that's important.
Yeah, whether it's through prayer or meditation or spending time in nature,
Right.
whatever helps you kind of tap into that deeper part of yourself.
Yeah, those moments of solitude and reflection, they can be so restorative.
They really can. It's like hitting the pause button
Yeah.
on the chaos of life and giving yourself a chance to recharge
To reconnect.
and reconnect with your inner compass.
I love that.
It's interesting, though, all the stuff he's talking about.
Yeah.
Gratitude, connection, reflection.
Yeah.
It all sounds so simple.
Right.
But in practice,
Yeah.
it can be really hard to prioritize these things.
It is.
Right? We're constantly bombarded with distractions and demands.
That's where the conscious effort comes in, It's
Yeah.
about making deliberate choices to align your actions with your values.
Right.
If you truly believe that spiritual growth and meaningful connection are important, then you need to create space for them in your life.
So it's not about achieving like some perfect balance.
Yeah.
Or becoming a monk and retreating to a mountaintop.
Right. Or completely disconnecting.
It's about making small, sustainable changes in your daily life.
Exactly, little by little.
Exactly. And remember, it's a journey, not a destination.
Right.
There will be times when you fall short,
We all do.
when you get caught up in the whirlwind of life.
Right.
The key is to keep coming back to those core values, to keep striving for that balance between your physical and spiritual selves.
I love that it's about progress, not perfection.
Yes, and I think that's a really encouraging message.
It is.
You know, we don't have to overhaul our entire lives overnight.
No, just take it one step at a time.
Even small steps in the right direction
Absolutely.
can make a big difference over time.
And I think the key is to remember why you're doing this in the first place. You know, what are you hoping to gain by prioritizing your spiritual side?
Right.
What kind of life do you want to create?
That is such a powerful question.
It is. It's about connecting with your deeper motivations, your core values, because when you have that clarity, it becomes easier to make choices that align with your aspirations.
It's like having a compass.
It is.
To guide you through the complexities of life.
Exactly.
Okay, so we've covered a lot of ground here.
We have.
We've explored the speaker's personal journey, this concept of reunion, the battle between our physical and spiritual selves,
Right.
and the importance of repentance, gratitude, and connection.
Lots of good stuff.
Where do we go from here?
Yeah.
What's the call to action?
Well, I think the call to action is to really examine our own lives. You know, he asks us to consider our own battles, those areas where we might be choosing instant gratification over something, you know, more meaningful, more lasting.
Yeah. Are we giving our spirits a chance to lead?
Exactly.
It's so easy to just get swept up in the day-to-day.
It is.
But this deep dive has really been a reminder to step back and ask those bigger questions. You know, like, am I living in alignment with my true self?
Right.
Am I feeding my spirit, not just like my physical needs?
And sometimes I think we forget that there's even a choice to be made.
Sometimes I do.
We just go on autopilot.
Right.
But we do have a choice. It's not about judgment or guilt.
Right.
It's about empowerment. You know, we have the power to choose a different path, to create a life that reflects our deepest values.
You know, one of the most powerful ideas for me from this talk is this idea that we're spiritual beings having a human experience.
Oh, I love that.
It really shifts your perspective.
It does. It reminds us that there's more to us than just our physical bodies and, you know, our immediate desires.
Right.
There's this deeper dimension, this spark within us that connects us to something larger.
So if we are essentially spiritual beings,
Yeah.
what does that mean for how we live our lives?
Right.
How we treat others, how we make decisions?
I think it starts with recognizing the inherent value in ourselves and everyone we encounter. You know, we're not just isolated individuals. We're all connected in this deeper spiritual sense.
Yeah, it makes you think twice about you know, those everyday interactions. A kind word, a helping hand, even just a smile.
It all matters.
It does. It has a ripple effect.
Yeah.
Not just on the person you're interacting with, but on the whole web of connections around you.
Absolutely. And maybe it inspires us to live with a greater sense of purpose too.
Right, because if we're not just here to, you know, satisfy our physical needs, then that's our purpose?
What are we here for?
What unique contribution can we make to the world?
Big questions.
Big questions. But I think this talk gives us some guidance.
Okay.
Choosing righteousness, practicing gratitude, nurturing connections. These are all ways to feed our spirits. And live a more meaningful life.
And it's not about being perfect.
Right.
It's about the effort, the intention, you know? It's about those daily choices we make to live in alignment with our values.
Even when it's hard.
Even when it's challenging.
This deep dive has really been an eye-opener for me.
Yeah, me too.
I'm walking away with a lot to think about and a renewed sense of inspiration.
That's great.
To be more intentional, more connected, more present in my life.
I love that.
Me too.
Yeah.
And it's been such a pleasure exploring these ideas with you.
Likewise.
And with all of our listeners.
Yes. Thank you all for joining us.
And as we wrap up, I want to leave everyone with this thought.
Okay.
If you truly believe that you are a spiritual being having this human experience, what choices can you make today to honor that truth?
Beautiful. What a powerful question.
It is, and it's something we can all carry with us.
Absolutely.
And until our next deep dive,
yes,
keep exploring, keep questioning, and keep choosing to feed your spirit.
Couldn't have said it better myself.
Thanks for joining us.